Hello, it's Dawn Michelle and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do the first video that I've done in quite a few weeks. Nope, the second video. Dude, I'm wrong already because I just made a video for my members. So second video that I've made in the last few weeks because I took a break. So today we're going to talk about my practice such as it was in January of 2024. I've done one of these videos, like I know a lot of people in the community do these videos. They're very popular where we talk about what we worked with. I have done one of these videos, I think every month for several years straight now. And so like I'm trying really hard not to miss any just because like it's a thing, right? It's a thing. It's like a goal. I've always done them. I want to keep doing them. It is a good habit that is a part of my tarot YouTube thing, right? So anyway, I'm completely out of practice, so I'm probably going to be rambly. I will try to rein in my hot messness. Is that even a word? And I am recording this on the heels of making a member video where that is just completely me unedited. So I will try to stay focused and succinct for you all here. So January was like not great. There was a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. There was a lot of stuff going on out externally with other people in my lives, and it was just a thing. It was just a thing. There were lots of things that came to an end. There were people that passed away in my life, and like it was a thing. So I took a break from making videos. I did start, we're just gonna do a quick little ramble, like update ramble, right? I did start, and the thing that kind of kept me grounded and sane throughout the craziness that was January was that towards the end of January, Lisa and I started, Lisa Pepez. I'm sure y'all know Lisa, right? If you know me, you know Lisa, I'm almost positive. If not, like link below and go check her out because she's amazing. Lisa is like in full transparency. She's one of my best friends, right? So we started playing Baldur's Gate 3 together, and we started streaming our game. We spent a lot of time, you know, hanging out, talking about the game, hanging out with each other, playing our individual games before we started streaming. But then we started a game together, and we've been streaming that on my other channel. If you haven't checked it out, like, okay, that space over there, Lisa and I are not in our professional mode. So just full disclaimer there, that is not the same as the space we exist in here when we are doing our tarot content. I'm like talking for Lisa. Apologies, Lisa. But I know that is our play place, right? It's where we get to like just not worry about things and just have fun. And that's really what that whole experience is about. So if you want to see Lisa and I get into the craziest stuff, we do the worst stuff in that game sometimes. But if you want to see her and I completely unleash, go check that out. I'll leave a link below for you. It's been lots of fun. We are streaming at least once a week, every Tuesday, with a few exceptions, but every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific. And then whenever we try to squeeze in one more whenever we can. So it's just whenever our schedules align. But anyway, that's been kind of keeping me grounded, provided the space that I needed and the play that I needed while I was kind of dealing with a bunch of other stuff. I had to take a little bit of a break from tarot, with the exception of my fellowship, which we're going to look at. I just needed a pause. I made a whole video about it. Lisa and I are going to be talking about it more in February on her channel. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely go over there, subscribe, keep an eye out. And that will be for our tarot and practice video. We bounce back and forth between our two channels. I do have a playlist on my channel as well if you want to see the ones we've done in the past. And so we'll be talking about that more then. I did do a whole tarot burnout. I really don't want to go into that all here again, just that I'm like, I was just doing a video with my members, and I was talking about how I think my word of the year, now I can't even remember what word I used, but it was something like recalibrate or something along those lines. Like that's the space that I'm in right now. I'm recalibrating a lot of things in my life. And so that's where I'm at. And the only thing that I've really done tarot-wise is my fellowship practice that's available in my membership. And that has been a lot of fun because it is fun, but it's also like very grounded in my normal sort of tarot routine. So that's been great because that's been keeping me like grounded. It's been keeping me focused. It's also giving me something tarot related to do, but also something fun. We share in my Discord, like it's a whole thing. It's great. It's so much fun. So I really only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decks. 5 decks to share with you, which for me is really, really minimal. And that's where I'm at these days. I'm going much more small scale, much more minimal. That's just the space that I'm in and what I need to be focusing on and how I need to be engaging with things at the moment, because I have other things that I'm doing. I'm drawing, I am writing, I'm playing games. Like I'm making space for other things in my life, which is really important. I love tarot, but it cannot be all consuming. And when you have a very involved tarot practice and then you make tarot content on top of that, it can become very consuming. And so I just needed to create a little space for some of the other things that were important to me. And so that's what I've done in January. Enough babble. Let's talk first about the decks that I used in the fellowship practice and how I've been engaging with them. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the 2 decks that I used for my readings for the practice. So the fellowship is a narrative ongoing tarot journey that we're doing together. It's based in the idea of personal growth work through tarot, but it's overlaid with a sort of narrative kind of gamified element that is inspired by D&D. It's not D&D, but we do use cards and we do use dice. And so it's been a really fun way to engage with the tarot that adds a different layer and a different sort of energy and work. So for January, I had 1 main tarot deck that I was using, 1 main oracle that I was using. And then there's another practice that we do at the end of every week that I had another deck for, and I have an additional deck here. So I'll kind of explain as we go. So the 2 decks that I was using primarily were the Tarot of the Abyss and the Green Witch's Oracle. Talk about these individually real quick. The Tarot of the Abyss was when we were first looking at fellowship decks and talking about that in the Discord of being like, who's going to use what, and you know, all that kind of stuff, which is really fun. This deck is so funny because it's a deck that I didn't own, and I think it was in September, we did a blank spaces, like reset month in our practice that we were doing last year. And I was working with black and white decks and I didn't have this one at the time. And we were in a member live and everybody was chatting. And basically all my members were like, you need this deck. So of course I went out and bought the deck because my member said I need it and like they would know, right? So I went out and bought the deck. And it will forever be like a weaver deck for me now, right? It will forever be connected to my membership and all the beautiful people that hang out there and that community that we've created there together. And it will forever remind me of that. So when I was looking at decks and thinking about decks that I wanted to use for this shared journey that we're doing together, it is a solo tarot adventure as well, but for those who wish to share and do it together, we do have space for it in our Discord, and we share our readings and our adventures and our journeys there as well for anybody who wants to. But I know there are lots of people who are just engaging with it on a solo basis as well. But anyway, this deck was just like, it was the first one that came to mind because I was like, this deck embodies the membership for me now. It feels like our community that comes together and we all share and we all, like the support that is in that group is just amazing. Everybody's fantastic. I feel very, very fortunate, very blessed to have, you know, to be able to create that space for everybody and to be able to participate in their lives and everything that's going on with them too is just fantastic. So like big thank you to my members because y'all are amazing and I adore you all. So anyway, when it came to the fellowship and like picking the deck, because January was our initiation month, is where we kind of learned how we were going to go about this practice. We learned about some of that key aspects of this practice, which I'll talk about here in a moment, which are like the guardian, working with the dice that we're using in our readings and that kind of stuff. And so I just like, that was the deck that I had to choose because it just felt like it embodied this whole experience of community coming together. And I think it was one of my members that mentioned the Green Witch Oracle pairing with this because I wasn't sure what Oracle deck I was going to use at the beginning of the practice, really. And so I ended up buying this one based on, again, another, you know, member recommendation, which is fantastic. And it's beautiful and like it pairs so well with the Tarot of the Abyss. I really, really have been enjoying working with it. So every week we have it's basically a 3-step process, a three segment reading that we do. And it is divided up Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but you can do it like on those days, or you can do it all at once, or however it works into people's schedule, right? So Monday is initiative, and that's where we pull an oracle and or other things, depending on what we got going on in the practice, to kind of set the stage for what the week is going to bring in the adventure, because this is a narrative journey, like it's a story. We are going on an adventure. We have a quest. We got our big quest for February. There's side quests and live events that are going to be happening as well, which I'm really excited about. But I've been using this as my initiative deck for January, for what's going to be going on for the week. And then I was using the Tarot of the Abyss for my actual readings. So we'll just do a quick little flip through of them together because they are really great together. I really enjoyed working with these two. I love the black and white illustrations in the Tarot of the Abyss, and then you add in like the black and white borders and white space, and also they're both like cream, so it's not really white, it's like cream and black. Which is beautiful, because my designer brain, sometimes if you put a cream deck with a white deck, like an actual like paper white deck, my brain just short circuits and I don't like it. This is perfect because the cream colors are exactly the same in these two decks. So I feel like they work really well together. So aesthetically, they're beautiful, but also energetically, they read really well together because they are both really grounded, earthy decks. I do feel like Tarot of the Abyss has a really strong emotional undercurrent. That could just be the way that I work with it, which is really interesting in January because there was a lot of emotional stuff going on in the month, and so that was interesting to pull that in. And my readings throughout my adventure and my initiation, which I'll show you my journal here in a little bit, were really spot on for what was going on and what I was personally needing, and it was fantastic. But I love these two together. They just seem like they have such a great little conversation. The Green Witch Oracle really provides a succinct like focal point, right? And that tends to be how I use my oracles. And when we're looking at using an oracle in the way that we are in the practice, where it's our initiative, it's what jumps off the encounter, or it's the energy beneath the encounter, whatever the case may be, right? Depending on where we are in the quest and what we're doing. It really provides a wonderful kind of succinct anchor for that. And then using the Tarot of the Abyss to really like explore that. So here we have with planning, setting intentions, and optimism between the High Priestess and the Ace of Swords. I mean, yes, please. Also, the illustrations are just beautiful together. Bird, freedom and opportunity with the Two of Cups and the Six of Swords. Look at that. That's gorgeous. I mean, we could go into like interpretation, but we'd be here forever. I got this Ten of Swords for sure, I know. Chamomile, gentleness, relaxation, and sleep between the Ten of Swords and the Knight of Wands. I love this Ten of Swords because for me, when this came up, the first thing that came to mind, which is not a very Ten of Swordsy kind of energy, but the first thing that came to mind is like facing the inner truth, right? I mean, I guess that is kind of Ten of Swords because like swords is suited the mind for me. But it was just interesting. It was like meeting yourself where you are was kind of the energy, right, that I got out of that. And it was just interesting because, you know, like context matters. So it matters like what you're looking at, what you're diving into. I love this mushroom card. I have to say the Green Witch Oracle, I think, is probably one of my favorite newer Oracle decks in my collection. I really enjoy the aesthetics of it. I really enjoyed working with it. The little guidebook is wonderful. We'll take a look at that here in just a minute, just because like we're going to have a little bit extra time because I don't have that many decks to show you. But, ooh, look at this one. Moth, Mystery, Concealment, and Illusion between Death and the Six of Wands. That's pretty amazing. I'm terrible about talking about guidebooks, right? That's because I don't use my guidebooks that often. But in Oracle decks, I do tend to use them more often than I do tarot. So these ones have the nice color illustrations, like it's beautifully designed. We have the keywords, we have the card meaning, and then there's a lovely little reflection question, which you can also tie into your readings, which is wonderful. So yeah, it's just a gorgeous little thing. My only complaint with this guidebook is there's not a table of contents. And in terms of like the cards, there is a table of contents. That's not what I mean. Each card is not listed individually on the table of contents. That's what I'm trying to get at. And the cards are not in alphabetical order because they are in order by like their, I guess, kind of suit. So there's like things, and then there's like seasons and things like that. So it actually makes the guidebook really hard to use, because you have to really, like, you have to search, you have to flip through every page to find the card that you're looking for. So if I'll be honest, because of that, I stopped using the guidebook. So I started the month working with the card and then looking at the guidebook entry. And I just got frustrated with that process of trying to find the card every time, because like I was in the middle of like my whole fellowship thing, right? I was in the middle of my adventure, and I didn't really want to like stop and pull out the guidebook and like be like flip through every single page trying to find the card that I'm looking for. So at some point I might just like actually write a little card list and the number in the front of the book, but there's also no numbers on the card, so like you can't use that either. That's really my only complaint with this guidebook, is that the cards aren't listed, so it makes it really hard to find, and I just stopped using the guidebook because of that, just because I couldn't be bothered to take the time to search through the guidebook to find the card. And really I didn't need to, because these cards are pretty self-explanatory. There's a title and there's like several keywords, so I really didn't need to. Oh, that can't happen. No reversals in my decks. No. And my only other complaint is this deck came bowed out of the box, but like that's a thing we see happening a lot these days. So anyway, otherwise, like it's beautiful and I love it. And I'm a fan of Erin Murphy Hissock's work. I have quite a few of her books. She was one of the very first sort of witchy sort of writers that I read like back in the day, back when I, was doing that whole thing. So those were the two decks, the one that I used for Initiative and that I used for Encounter in the Fellowship. And then at the end of most every full week, so not every single week, but every full week, we pull a loot card, and the loot cards they combine throughout the whole entire year. And a lot of people have picked like specific decks for their loot cards, which is cool. And they're going to use like the same deck or the same collection of decks for the whole year. That's amazing. I don't have that kind of commitment to a deck, so I'm just using whatever I feel like in the month. But the idea is we are tracking all of our loot cards, and you'll see that in my digital journal. And I will show you both my journals here in just a moment. But we are tracking them because at the end of the year, there's a big thing we're going to do with the loot cards. So I just, for whatever reason, randomly grabbed the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle 2nd edition. I don't know why, I just did, off my shelf. And this is the deck that I ended up using for loot for the month. Here's the backs. It's funny, when I unboxed this deck with my members, I was like, I think this is one that it was the tarot. I was like, I don't know if I like it. I actually do really like it. I do have trouble reading the font on the bottom, but because I know the movie, because this is based on the Practical Magic movie, because I know the movie so well, because I've seen it so many times, like all of these cards have whatever meaning they have in association with the card, right? What's on the card, like Blood on the Moon, Destiny, right? Tiger's Eye, Balance. I also have all the associations related that I relate to in the movie. So like that's a whole thing, and it adds just this really unique layer to it. So this was the deck that I pulled at the end of the week for my loot card, and then you just pull one card and we note what it is. And like, I'm not going to spoil it because even members don't know what we're doing with it at the end of the year, but it's going to be fun. So yeah, it's just a great one. I really enjoyed it. I think I pulled this one out once or twice just to pull a card just for the moment, just cause like it was sitting on my desk, right? Sometimes I do that. I'm not like being super intentional. I just shuffle and pull a card. Like, I'll be honest, a lot of times like I'm waiting for a video to process, so I'll shuffle and pull a card because like I'm waiting, right? I got nothing better to do that 5 minutes, so I shuffle and pull a card. But yeah, it's really cool. I like the stuff that's on it. There's a few designer things that kind of bug me, but like, right, we all know I'm a design snob and I'm trying really hard, y'all. But when you spent like 20 years doing it, it's really hard not to see it. Just saying. Okay. Spilled Salt Release, Halloween Magic, Rose Quartz Healing, Belladonna Risk Reward. I love that one. I think that one's really cool. So yeah, it's a beautiful deck. The production value is really nice. It shuffles beautifully. Like, I really enjoy shuffling this deck, actually. Let's just shuffle it while we're here, because we got some time to kill. Ooh, such a bad shuffler sometimes. What did we get? Spellwork and Insight. That was one of my loot cards. That's so cool. Okay, so that's my loot deck. Now, there's one other deck that I pulled into the fellowship, and that's this one. I mentioned this deck in I think a video on like decks I was gonna work with in 2024 or something like that. My coffee is completely cold now. And I talked about how, like, I don't get this deck, man. Like, I love Christopher Pendek's work. I've been like a huge fan since the 90s, right? So like that's the reason I bought it. And I've mentioned that many times. That's the reason I bought it. I wanted to read the guidebook. The cards I don't get, like they don't really make any sort of connection for me. I think the art is beautiful, but I wasn't sure how it was gonna actually work for me to like use them. So what I did was we have, in the fellowship, we have a guardian, and it's kind of hard to go into all of it without like giving stuff away, but we have a guardian who we also interact with, pull cards for. And so I used this as my guardian deck. Now, some people have, again, like the loot, they have a dedicated deck for their guardian, and I think that's awesome. I've already changed out who my guardian is once through January. So like I can't be that committed. So my guardian currently, and we have like little things that we're using. This is currently holding space as my guardian. It's just a little skeleton in like this, I think it's onyx, but I could be wrong. It's just a little skeleton crystal wrapped in like this black cloak, and it just, I don't know, it felt very on point for January for me, so that stood holding space as my guardian. And then I used this deck in my readings as for my guardian reading, for my message from my guardian. There was a little like an interaction that we did, an encounter that we did where we used dice, and depending on the roll of the dice, we either pulled our card or pulled our guardian's card. And I originally was going to use tarot for this, and then because you have like 3 rows, you'll see it in my journal, and not 3 rows, 2 rows of 3. And on the top was the guardian's cards, and the bottom was yours. And depending on what you rolled, depended on which card you pulled. And I really liked having the Oracle. I originally thought I was going to pick a tarot deck for my guardian, but I really liked having the Oracle deck because it added the Oracle in with the tarot, you know? So I might continue with that practice and just let my guardian pull whatever, like, Oracle it feels right for the energy and the decks that I'm working with, rather than picking a specific one. Because, like, I just don't have that much commitment. It's always funny when I talk about, like, I have commitment issues, but, like, y'all, I've been married for, like, 26 years. So clearly I don't have commitment issues with people, but I have commitment issues with cards, I guess. But anyway, it was cool to use this. It gave me a chance to start kind of playing with it. I think maybe that's something that I'll do throughout this year, is rather than like sitting down and trying to do like a dedicated study, which I just do not have the mental space for right now. I think I'm just going to let this one just kind of come and go in my practice as like it feels appropriate. It's beautiful, and I'm excited to get to know it, but like I enjoyed being able to get into the guidebook and just read. You know, they're short little entries, but they're on point, and I like Christopher Pendek's work, I like his writing, so I was excited to be able to pull that one in. And like really this with, you know, these 2 decks, I just didn't do a putting them all together. You'll see them together in my journal. Like these 3 together were really fantastic. I really liked the whole aesthetic of them. I liked the way they work together, and it worked really well for this whole practice. So before we get into the final deck, normally I do my journals last, but I'm gonna interrupt. I do have one other deck to share with you, but I'm gonna interrupt really quick and do my journals, because my journals are fellowship specific. I have not done any other tarot journaling. I do have another tarot journal set aside for the year, but I haven't started on it yet, and I probably won't until this month. Because again, I'm not forcing these things. I'm just letting them kind of happen as they need to happen, which I think is really important, something I need right now. So I'm doing 2 different things with my fellowship journal. I think I mentioned this in my plans for 2024 video as well. I am doing all of my activities in this book, mostly just writing. I have a little bit of sticker collage. This is a beautiful journal from the Creeping Moon. Like, look at this. Like, I mentioned having the whole set. Like, it's beautiful. Not the whole set. I think I'm missing one. But anyway, my readings, my activities, my like spreads and stuff are all, I'm just writing them all in here, and then I'm keeping a record digital journal of the actual cards. It saves on ink and printing as well as just time and effort, right? So here's my cover page. Here was chapter 1, which was initiation, so that's January. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm actually writing the whole story, the whole narrative in here. So I have like different colors for different things, but we have like the first week was entering sanctuary. Our initiative question for the first week was what has drawn me here. So I pulled my card. Then we had our encounter, which is our reading. And then we have our loot card. So again, just, you'll see it's very simple. It's mostly writing. I did some little sticker stuff here and there just for fun, because I like it and it's fun, and it makes it look a little bit pretty, right? I do like things to be aesthetically pleasing. Like this it's the designer in me. I cannot help it. So here was our circle of intention, which was fantastic, where we started kind of figuring out what we were hoping to do. This was our Chamber of Trials week, which was the first week we used dice. That was super exciting. So I started using, I have these little stamps that are like shapes. So I used the shape that corresponds with the dice. So this is a D4. I can show you my dice too while we're here. Why not? These are the dice. I have many sets of dice. If you actually want to see all my sets of dice, I have another video on my other channel, but these are the 3 dice that we're working with currently, the 3 types of dice. I change my dice out depending, I'm going to change them every month to match with the decks that I'm working with. But we use the D4, which is the little like triangle one. We use the D20, that's like a mainstay D&D dice. And then we use the D6, which is your standard like cube dice. That's the one most people are familiar with. So I had the little triangle here because our first reading was with the D4, and like depending on what you roll, there are prompts in the PDF guide that I provide that tell you like what to do with that number. So the first one I rolled was a 1. So my first roll of the fellowship was a 1, and that prompt or that response to that is the message is unclear, roll again. So I was like, oh, that's starting off on a great foot, right? My first roll, the message is unclear and I had to roll again. And the second time I rolled a 2, which was the directions were pull a card from the bottom of the deck. So depending on what number you roll, right, depends on what you do. So there was my card that I pulled. We had our encounter. Again, I used the wrong shape, but that's okay. This was the encounter where we had our guardians cards and our cards, and we rolled the D20 for that. So depending on what number you rolled, depended on whose card you pulled. So I rolled a 20, a nat 20, which was fun. So after my 1, I rolled a nat 20 on my D20, which was awesome. So I got to pull both cards in that column, and then I rolled a 3 and an 11. So anyway, and then we had the loot. So this was our last week where we did our token of trust. We didn't have a loot for this week because it was a short week in terms of the quests. And so I just did, my encounter and things. So this one we used the D6 for. So we used the cube, and I just noted which numbers I got because the numbers corresponded to the positions and where you put the cards. So that was really fun. And then I'm ready for chapter 2, which is saving the elder tree, which is when we actually get into our big overarching quest that we're doing for the year. We have little quests every month. We have the larger quests that we're working towards through the whole year. And then we also have, starting in February, we're gonna have some live events, which are gonna be some live side quests, some live card pull stuff and events, which is gonna be really fun. Let me grab my iPad because I want to show you my digitals. This is like never great to do on camera because the camera hates it, but we're gonna go for it. We're gonna try it. Okay, so every month I provide a PDF. If you saw Marlena's January wrap up, you can see pieces and parts of that. I also, though, created a landscape good notes version specifically for members so that they could take that and use that as well. So you can use either one. This is the landscape version, and this is obviously the cover. I still need to fill out my contents, but that's cool. Each of these are like hyperlinked and everything. There's contents, there's notes, and there's loot. So if you're in the membership and you want this, like it's available in our Discord, and I believe in a community post as well. So there's that. I put the map in here, and then here is all of the themes for each month, all of basically the quest titles that we're doing each month. So January is Initiation, February is Saving the Elder Tree, in March we're gonna move into Enchanted Garden, and so on and so forth, right? So then moving into January, what I've been doing is just noting the decks that I'm using. I note what I use them for. So I have my initiative deck, my encounter deck, my loot deck, and my guardian deck, and I have the numbers that correspond there. This is the cover page for January. And then I go into just dropping the photos in. And then because I'm me, like I played with it a little bit, right? I put some digital stickers and stuff. I don't have any writing or any reflections because I found that for me personally, this gets a little too far into my designer brain and like it starts to feel like work because I spent 15 years doing book layout, and magazine layout for 2 different companies. So this starts to feel a little bit like page layout to me. And then I kind of shift out of my personal space and kind of get into this sort of work mode brain mentality. And that's not good. That's not where I want to be. So I've just started using this as a place to record the cards that I actually pulled. And so I can have the sort of visual reference of them. So there's my initiative card for the first week, my encounter reading, and the loot. And this is great because then I can do all the writing and stuff in my paper journal and then keep all of the pictures in here, which is much more efficient than trying to print them all out. So there was the second week of my different cards that I pulled. The third week, I forgot to take a picture of my loot card for whatever reason, so I still need to put that in here. But here you can see like we used our initiative card in this particular reading, so that was kind of fun. Then for this week, then I started like cropping out pieces and parts of the cards, which was fun. So here was like an example of like the Guardian reading. And this is something that this type of process is something that we do quite frequently in the fellowship. So the bottom row is all my cards. The top row is all my guardians cards. And depending on what number I rolled on my D20, depended on whose card I got to pull. So that 20 I rolled, that nat 20 I rolled, I got to pull both cards in this column. And then clearly I rolled a lower number and I pulled the guardian card, and then I rolled a higher number here. So I pulled my card, and then you use the cards that are showing in the reading, and the cards that are underneath we don't look at because those aren't for us right now. So it's just one of the ways that we've been working with it. I've had a lot of people like ask, and they're really curious about it. It's really hard to kind of talk about without like giving away important pieces and parts of the practice and the quest. So hopefully this will be helpful, but anyway, here's the last week where we had our just initiative and our encounter. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like digitally archiving this. And then the back here, I just have, oh, that was stuff I was playing with. So here's my actual loot cards, where I'm just keeping a list of the day that I pull them or the day that they happen on and what the keyword is. Because again, as I mentioned, that's something that we're going to be doing something with at the end of the fellowship. So just real quick, I want to mention, if you do want to join the fellowship, you do not have to go back and do the previous stuff. I've got a little like recap that I provide every month so that you don't have to go back and do it all if you don't want to. If you want to, you're more than welcome to, but like you can jump in at any point. All you have to do is just read the recap and you'll be up to date with the quest and what we're doing, and you don't have to necessarily go back and do all that. Same with the loot cards. If you jump in like right now, you do not have to go back and pull loot cards for January. That's not going to interfere with what we're going to do with them at the end of the year. So I just wanted to throw that out there really quickly because I've had lots of questions about it. Let's talk about the last deck, and then I actually might just flip through my planner really quick just for funsies to show you all. The other primary deck that I worked with in January was the Mars Power Tarot, and Marlena and I have talked a lot about rage decks because it's rage as an emotion, as an experience, is a thing that a lot of people have experienced, and like we're not allowed to talk about, right? It's like not proper or some BS. Anyway, we've both been working very hard to validate rage as a legitimate feeling, and like when it's handled properly, like it's cool. It has a point, it has a purpose. I'm not going to get into that here because like there's talk about maybe we'll do some videos, but I had some serious ragey moments in January, you all. There was some stuff that was going down that was just not cool, and I was really upset about, and like I had to work through that. So getting a deck to help me with that. I have a couple of rage decks now, and this is the backs. This one is gold gilded. I'm just going to kind of talk about this experience while I flip through this deck. I have a couple of rage decks now because rage is such an intense emotion that I didn't want to like, I don't want to say tank because that's not the right word. I didn't want to infuse other decks that I use for other practices with that energy. So I wanted decks that could hold that energy on their own and that be their purpose. And also that to me in my own brain legitimizes rage as an emotion that is okay to hold and it's okay to make space for. Like with any emotion, as long as it's dealt with in a healthy way, right? I mean, we really have to make sure we put that disclaimer in there because unhealthy rage is not good. But healthy, normal rage, because the world is unjust, because people are horrible sometimes, and like that's all valid. Those are valid experiences. And I have a few decks that I've collected over the last few months to work with this very specific emotional undercurrent of rage. And at some point I'll talk about that more in detail, but this particular deck is really interesting because what this particular deck does is it doesn't like hold my hand and tell me like, oh, it's okay, like you're just ragey right now, like everything will be fine, right? It doesn't do that. It doesn't help me to see where the rage is or why I'm raging or what I need to do about it. It doesn't do that either. What this deck does and what makes it so freaking cool to me and so unique in my practice is because what this deck does is it holds space for rage. It doesn't try to negate it. It doesn't try to tamp it down. It doesn't try to rationalize it or try to fix it. It just allows it to exist. And it's like, for me, this is my rage validation deck. This is the deck that I go to when I don't want something to make me feel better. I want to actually experience the emotion because there's a reason for it, right? I don't sit in rage, right? I need to be really clear about that. I don't sit in rage, but I allow myself to experience it. I allow it to flow through me because it is a part of life and it is a part of me. And it's a part of my experience. And sometimes I get mad about things, y'all. Like, actually, sometimes I get really mad about things, especially when it's things like that involve, other people. And like, I really don't like to see my friends get hurt. And like, I get super ragey, overprotective in that space when that kind of stuff happens. And it's like, I need to rein it back in because it's not always mine to deal with, right? I can be there, support, hold space, but it's not always mine to deal with. So then I have to deal with my own rage, right? Not that I ever want to put my rage off on someone else, but you know what I mean? Like this deck allows that to just be. It allows it to exist. And it's so interesting because when we work with tarot and we work with tarot in a way that is like trying to help us to navigate the world and to understand ourselves better, right? I think for a lot of us, that's really how we work with our cards is it's just a tool. It's a conduit to self-reflection where we can use the art, use the meaning of the cards to help us kind of just figure out what the heck is going on. But we don't always need to figure out what the heck is going on because sometimes we just know. Like if I'm mad, most of the time I know why I'm mad. And in January, I knew damn well why I was mad. And I didn't need a deck to like fix it or to like temper it. What I needed was a deck to just hold space for it. And this deck did that so beautifully. It's very unique in that way because it does just kind of like, it validates the rage. And I don't know, maybe that sounds weird, but it does. It validates the rage. It's not like we're not going to worry about trying to fix it. We're just going to let it exist. We're going to let it flow through us and then we're going to let it go. And that's the key, right? You can't hold on to that rage. So a lot of times I would pull an additional card. I guess I could grab that deck really quick to kind of like, this holds the space for it, and when I'm ready to let it go, then I pulled another card from this other deck, which I guess I'll get out here in a minute because I forgot to pull that one. Yeah, and then I would use that to just like kind of, okay, now let's release it because like I can't go around being ragey all the time just because that's not productive or healthy for me. I allow myself those moments when I need to feel that, when I need to be angry because of the hurt that's been caused, because of the injustice in the world, whatever it is, right? And for me, it's usually because of what happens to others. I very rarely get ragey over things that happen to me because I'm just like, whatever, that's life, man. But when it happens to other people, to people I love, people I care about, like I get real ragey over that. And super overprotective and like it's a whole thing. So this was great for that because it allowed me to hold space for my own rage, and then which allowed me to be able to be there for the people in my life that were, you know, that were having struggles, having issues, right? And I'll be honest, it was my friends, it was my husband, and it was my kid. Like I had so many things going on, so many different, the emotional roller coaster that was January, not for me personally, but for everybody around me, for everybody that I love. There was just so much emotional roller coaster going on with everybody else. And I just wanted to be there and hold space for that. And I'll be honest, some of it really pissed me off. So this was a great deck for that, for allowing me to just validate my own anger, my own rage over that, giving me a space to kind of experience it for a moment and then being able to like let it go and move on. So let me just grab that Oracle deck because it's just right here. So y'all probably won't be surprised to see like this one show up again. This is the Begin Oracle. I love this Oracle deck. It really doesn't like go aesthetically with the Mars Power Tarot, but what this deck did, I mean, it goes okay. But what this deck did is I kind of just pulled one card at the end of like after I sat with that message, the emotion, you know, after I validated the emotional landscape that I was currently in, I would pull one of these just as kind of like a wrap up, a takeaway, a kind of like a way to release it, because I love the imagery. I love the keywords. It's such a great, I don't know, there's just something about this deck. It's so good. I keep it at hand because it's one I use quite often for just single card pulls, whether that's just a card pull in the moment or a card pull like I did with the Mars Power, where I'm just like wrapping up a reading, or, you know, doing some kind of like, I need a takeaway now, or I just, wow, need to like let it go. Let's see how they look together, because I really didn't play with them together. I just kind of, let's do our usual, like my signature 3 card. Oh, everything's just gonna be like, y'all, I'm so out of practice. Okay, sorry. My signature 3 card here with the Oracle in the middle. Let's just see how they look together just for fun. Because I really didn't do this. I didn't incorporate it into the actual reading. It was like I did the reading with the Mars Power, and then I pulled the Begin as a sort of release energy. But actually they're kind of cool together. I think it works. It's the interesting thing about the Begin Oracle is it has a lot of different art styles in it. So it's very eclectic, and I really like that about it. But I also really like the keywords. So we have like pass between with the 7 of Wands and the Tower. That's kind of awesome. Also, look at the colors. So this is like that teal, kind of teal green color here, here, and here, right? That's cool. Y'all know how I feel about color. I definitely like when it shows up in a cohesive way. But yeah, I think these actually do kind of work well together, which is kind of funny. I mean, I enjoyed using them in the way that I did, which was really just pulling a few cards from the Mars Power and then just pulling, again, that sort of release card with the Begin. But I think they actually work together really well like this. I like this one, Guardian, Page of Pentacles, and the 8 of Wands. Yeah, I like these. I've actually bought a couple more decks from this creator. So clearly it's a style and it's an artwork that's really appealing to me right now. It feels very angsty. And that's totally the energy I'm in right now. I just like, I don't wanna, I'm kind of like in this rebellious phase of, I don't want to do my homework. That's where I'm at. I don't want to do my homework. I want to be rebellious right now. It's kind of where I'm at, and kind of what everything is revolving around that. And so the decks, I think in a lot of ways, some of the decks are kind of reflective of that too. So it'll be interesting to see what February brings, because I have not actually picked my decks for February yet. So I'll be doing that here shortly. But yeah, I think these two are actually really cool together. All right, let's just do one more. One more, and then I'm going to wrap this up. The Sun in eclipse with Judgment and the 2 of Pentacles. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, I was going to show you all my planner really quick because, like, honestly, all right, here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. My other channel has been completely taken over with Baldur's Gate live streaming video game stuff, and I'm living for it. So like, I do not care. I'm totally good with it. That is probably the majority of what's going to happen over there right now, because doing like my regular videos and then, you know, making game content is kind of taking up like all my time, which is totally fine. So I do know that several of you really enjoy the planner stuff, so maybe I'll just slip some of it in here and there because I don't know if I'll get to it on my other channel. So if you are not interested in planner stuff, I'm gonna do it really quickly, but if you're not interested in planner stuff, feel free to, you know, click off the video right now. That's really cool. I won't be offended. I won't even know, right? But I won't be offended. Take a sip of my super cold coffee. So this is my planner, and it is a Hobonichi Weeks. I have, it's all Astarian in here right now, y'all, because I just have Astarian brain rot, and that's just a thing. So I have my little Astarian charm on here. This is a Hobonichi Weeks. I do have like a proper walkthrough or something on my other channel. I have a little, I'll just real quick what I've got in here, right? Just real quick. I've got some washi and flags over here. This is a little notebook that, it's so funny. I was like, oh, I'll decorate the front. Like, look how cute that sticker is. And then I realized the way I stick it in here, it goes this way. And so you see the back. So I stuck in it's an Astarian sticker. I have no excuses for what my planner looks like right now, y'all. So just so you know. Anyway, this is my like real quick brain dump. I just need to make a quick note because my pen takes forever to dry in the Hobonichi, and I do not have the patience for that when I'm in a hurry or I just want to make a quick note. So I have this little notebook tucked in here. I have my little Poro tag, which is actually from my little Poro stuffed animal that my youngest bought me. Just cuz, which was the sweetest thing. Just one day Ash walked in and was like, here mom, I bought you a Poro. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I love my kids so much. Anyway, sorry, having a mom moment. I have some random stickers in here. These are from Window Charms, and these are from Lowbrow Misfits. They have a different name on Etsy. Can't remember. This is an Astarian sticker. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. These are extra Astarian stickers for this month because I have a thing I'm doing this month. I just have tucked in there. So that's like what's in the front of my, this is a Moturn cover, which I absolutely love. And then I have my pen obviously on the side, and then I have just the plain gray cover Hobonichi Weeks Mega in here. And I guess I'll just do a really quick flip through in case like y'all haven't seen it. I don't think there's anything super personal in here. If there is, I'll edit it out. This was a sticker that I got with the Tabletop Tarot. Love that. I did a whole collage thing on the front page. I've got little collagey things going on here and there. I have Astarian approves because like I'm ridiculous. This is my workout tracker here in this little space. This is the videos that I've made. I have a note that I'm going to put my channel growth down here, but I haven't done that yet. So that was December, actually. I haven't finished filling out for January yet, but that's what it looks like. I just note what videos I put this in after the fact, right? After they're published, they're out. This is like the finalized version, right? So I know what I made. I'm not going to go clear back to December stuff because I already did that in a video on my other channel, and that it is actually up if you want to see it. This is kind of in the way, but that's okay. So this is what my planner looks like, and it is all Astarian right now. And I just like, I have no excuses, but this is how I roll at the moment. My videos for different things, different channels, different things I'm doing are all color coordinated, and I just do random sticker things. These over here is like what I've got going on, what I've got to post, things I've got scheduled, and over here is just my running task list, and then I use this space to really just play. So sorry, there might be bad words in here because like I swear. I know I don't swear on this channel, but I swear on the other channel. And Lisa loves it when I swear, so I probably swear excessively because she enjoys it. Anyway, this was when I started just taking some time off, and like I got a new computer, so there's my little Alienware sticker in there. Just random stuff, notes, and like things and song lyrics, and I don't even know, like, because this is where I was starting to take some time off, right? These are my characters from my solo game, which I am in love with, and I drew their picture and everything. If you want to see it, it's on Instagram because I drew them in like one of my favorite moments in game. So yeah, things I have going on, videos I was making. So this was when Lisa and I started officially streaming our game, which we are calling Romancing the Pale Elf, because our game is solely focused on romancing Astarian. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So there's a lot of that in here because I've been making little videos based on it. Like this one, I made a little clip of a thing that happened in game, which we called the underwear incident. Made a video called Better Together. I made a video that says when he says please. And like I have no excuses for how that video came out. I just really don't. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. So yeah, okay. Anyway. And then again, I have like other things I'm supposed to do, right? So then this is where we are right now and stuff I've got going on. My day got interrupted yesterday, but this is my bookmark because of course I made an Astaria bookmark. And I'll just do a little flip through of what February's look like because I got excited. I found a sticker pack on, I think it was on Ko-fi or something like that. Anyway, so I bought it, I printed them out and I mixed it with some stickers and it had like a whole theme. So I did a whole theme on my planner and of course it's all Astarian, but you can see kind of how I set up my planner, I guess, at this point. This is Gustarian. It's a whole thing in Neil Newbon's community, who's the voice actor that plays Astarian. So it's a whole thing, but it says murder. And based on the stuff that Lisa and I did in game last week, like it was just fitting. And I put some stickers like around stuff. This is the spread that I did for Valentine's Day because we have a special Valentine's Day game thing that we're gonna be doing. He's a vampire. There's probably spoilers, but like you find out really quickly that he's a vampire and like it's a whole thing. So this is Batstarian. It's like, that's end game stuff from a different sort of play style. I think that's the end, yeah. So yeah, that's my planner. Y'all, I got no excuses for my behavior these days, other than I'm just really enjoying getting to hang out with, you know, one of my favorite people and play this game and, you know, have fun together and do all the things. So it's been really cool. I don't know, why do I try to play this game of piling stuff up? I don't know why I continue to do that to myself. So that was my January. It was kind of a hot mess and like I'm recalibrating. I think that's the word I used with my members. I need to like write it down because I think recalibrating is a good word for me. That's where I'm at right now. I'm just recalibrating a bunch of things. So anyway, I would love to know what you all got up to in January, what you worked with, how it went for you. Always love hearing about that. So definitely feel free to share in the comments below. As always, you'll find links for everything I've shown here that I can find links for in the description box of this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you all had a wonderful January and I wish you many blessings moving into February.